Hello, hello! It is Sloth God Magic here with another MTG Arena video. I just attempted to record 3 games with a new deck I am trying to showcase, which is Green Proliferate in new War of the Spark Standard, and it got corrupted towards the end of me watching it over, so I'm going to have to try it again. And we went 3 for 3 in that video, so hopefully we can do something similar with it in this one. Because I just did a super long deck tech in the beginning of the last video, I think I'm just going to head into the games and then head to the deck tech and see if the video gets corrupted again. But anyway, what we're playing here is a pretty simple Green Proliferate deck. Because War of the Spark is released on MTGA and will be officially released in paper this upcoming Friday at the time of recording, we are testing out what mechanics and decks could shift the format heavily. So Proliferate is an old mechanic that puts counters on things that already have counters. So if something has a counter on it, it puts an additional counter on them, and you get to choose how many or of which permanent type or player you want to get another counter. So it's very versatile in the way that it's going to work, but you really kind of want to be playing planeswalkers to get more loyalty counters on them and get to their ultimates faster, or creatures that naturally get counters or get counters pretty easily, so that when you proliferate, everything's getting a lot bigger. Mono green is definitely geared more towards the creature side of it versus the planeswalker side. Even though we do have a good amount of planeswalkers in mono green in standard right now, none of them are showing up in this deck except for one, and then a couple of colorless planeswalkers. So we'll see what we can do here. This deck did carry me to Platinum before the season ended today, so I'm hoping it will carry me back up there later on in this season. Start off with an elf. Good start, good start. Ooh, there is a Nissa. That is always a good thing to see. Start with the bond. So we got an Evolution Sage, which is super important. We play an elf. We're definitely going for the turn 3 Nissa here. I mean, there's nothing we can do that's quite better than that. And actually, we can turn 3 Nissa, swing for 3. Here, let's just show it. So turn 3 Nissa. Plus on a forest. The forest has haste and vigilance. Swing for 3. Tap the forest. Fallenbright Druid. Proliferate. That is now a 4/4 land. And our Nissa is 1 Proliferate away from getting an ult. And she will be getting that Proliferate next turn. Haha, your mana acceleration's a little slow, opponent. Come on, do it, attack me. Hit me! Hit me! Oh, another Nissa. That's not actually exactly what we wanted to see. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So we'll have 4 after this. Actually, we have 9 because of the plus, but we don't really want a plus. We'd like to just proliferate twice and then ultimate, but I don't think we can do that. Or can we? Because you can tap this for 2 and then untap it. No, we can't. So plus on the forest first. Hopefully our forest creatures just don't get burnt. This is kind of a problem with playing a really early Nissa. So that's the one. because we want to use these for the Bloom Hulk here. So we'll tap the smaller one. Bloom Hulk. Counters on everything. Leave up Stony Strength for a surprise blocker. If they somehow have a way around this Nissa ult coming down. Because if our lands are indestructible, and we have another Nissa, we just keep making 3/3 haste vigilance indestructible lands that get bigger with every proliferate activation. And also our evolution sage will, I think what, we have 2 4 missing, so we'll hit 15. We're gonna get 15 proliferate triggers on everything, including Nissa, if she lives. And looks like. So now we ult our Nissa. Wait. Put a counter there first. Because they're gonna get real huge. Ult our Nissa.
Spring eternal.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, opponent! I'm sorry that we were going to have 3 15, 15 and bigger creatures that we were going to hit you with. But it's not our fault. It's War of the Spark. It made Proliferate. So that's kind of what we've been seeing in the last 3 games as well, and climbing the ladder days prior, is once you get down Nissa, it's pretty hard to lose if they can't kill it right away. If you can get to a Nissa ult, you have pretty much won the game. You're no longer drawing lands unless you're drawing Karn's Bastion or Emergence Zone, with both, which both have utility outside of just being lands. And you're getting indestructible creatures, and every Nissa after that is just 3/3 haste vigilance indestructible things that keep getting bigger. Is wild value. Wild value. Okay, so we did get our 3rd land. So I think we popped right. Yeah, it's just a bear for now. It's just a bear. You big old bear. I hate that this thing's a vampire. It just slots right into that deck. Ooh. Well, now I kind of just want to play the druid and proliferate that. Yeah, so now we Courage and Crisis the incubation druid, and that proliferates both of these. So we'll have a 3/3 and a 2/4. They can tap for 3, and if we draw an extra land, then we can Bloom Hulk on top of that, proliferate them both again. Don't kill it. Oh, thank God. Well, they might have instant speed, so let's just see. I think they do. Excuse me? Okay. That's an interesting choice. In that case, we're just gonna bond, because gaining the 3 kind of negates the damage. Yeah, we need the land. Now we can play Karn's Bastion and just pass the turn. So we have Karn no matter what. No matter what happens, we have Karn. We could play Ugin. I don't know if playing Ugin is the best option here. Let's see. Ooh. Now that is probably the best option. So yeah, we need to tap her for 3. 3 green. 1, 2. Nissa.
Together, we will prevail.
Untap this forest.
The land shall conquer you.
Get in for 3. Doesn't have Death Touch. As lifelink, and whenever a creature dies, put a +1. And then it makes that many vampires where that's its power. I want it to die sooner than later. Okay. So now we can just Bloom Hulk with no drawback. We can Ugin. Well, we could Biogenic Ooze. I think Biogenic Ooze. That leaves up chump blockers for Nissa. And then also gives us more value on the next Bloom Hulk or Proliferate effect. Hopefully we get like a 2-mana Proliferate effect. And then we can Karn as well. Or Ugin. And just Ugin into Proliferate. That's good value there, opponent. That's really good value. Now they can't attack though. So that was a good choice. Now how much mana do we actually have? 2, 4, 6, 8 from the plus, and 9 from that. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So we can go... Ugin.
My presence alone will guide you towards victory.
Bloom Hulk. Put 6 counters around. Neg 3 on the Lord.
Your past is unwritten.
Yep. +1 on a land. And we can Karn. We can Karn if we want. Let's do it just to show them what we got. Let's play Karn. This is just fun. Like, who cares if we win or lose? We just played 2 Planeswalkers in 1 turn, along with a 4/4 Proliferator. Oh, no swings. This isn't it flying, right? Nope. We are not scared of you, opponent. We're a little scared. We're a little scareder. Who are you swinging at? Me? Me. Yeah, I'm just gonna block it. Like, I'm gonna block it. Good try, opponent. Valiant effort. We will be blocking that. We will be double blocking that, just in case of shenanigans. Great. So, what did we put in here? Arlen Cord. I think we want the... First, Rite of Flourishing. See if we can find Evolution Sage. We cannot, but we will find the other land, and we will keep the other land. We need lands to fuel Nissa. We would really, really like a Proliferate. Make a token. Bloom Hulk. That's a Proliferate.
Vision.
We do have this Proliferate. Is it... Oh, can we just... Can we bolt and then keep her alive? I think we can. So... Tap here. Tap here. Proliferate. Yeah, and we can also keep Nissa alive through this. Oh. We're gonna need to click really fast, but MTG Arena does not like fast clicks. So if we miss any lands, okay, 11's fine. And then we will get back Arlen, just in case they somehow kill our thingy thing. Now we can attack with the indestructible creature, and nothing bad will happen, except for maybe getting drained out. So they're going to make 5 tokens, which we don't really care about. And they're not going to do anything about it, okay. And then we'll just activate Biogenic Ooze. And end the turn. So anything that we can block with that doesn't kill a creature, so this token here, yeah, for sure now they all do 3 damage when they die. Alright, they're going all in. Shout out to my dude Taco. So we'll only be taking 4. That's not a bad trade, right? I think it's still worth it to... I think it's still worth it to block and kill the Lieutenant and take 3, because it's just 1 extra point of damage, and their vampires have a lot less. Whew. Wow. How many triggers is that? We are real close to dead. Can we win here somehow? Well, we don't want to tap Karn's Bastion. Please, MTG Arena. Could you not see that? Evolution Sage. Land. Proliferate. Destroy that one. Yeah, we need to kill all of their actual damage dealing aristocrats, is what you would call them.
You may regret that choice.
No, whatever. Bloom Hulk. Proliferate. I think we can just win here. We need 1. Okay, so Proliferate. Probably should have done this before we started all the Proliferate shenanigans, but I don't actually think it's going to matter.
Rise, my elemental friend.
5. Play the Nissa. Yes. Keep the new one.
What a strange and magnificent
Yep, keep the new one. Untap another land.
Behold, nature's true power.
And go in. Extreme power level. Wow. We were so close to dead that game, and we just slammed down multiple planeswalkers in a turn. Ugh. Let's good feeling. Alright, 2 out of 2. See if we can go 3 for 3. Make it 6 for 6, including the last video. And head into a quick deck tech just to make sure we go over every card. In case y'all want to build this yourself. Ew, gross, not good. Nope. Oh, that's better-ish. I guess we have to... No, we're gonna bond before we Polybright. Or maybe not. I think the blockers... Oh, no! Yep, spawn. Gotta take incubation. Hopefully we pull a land off the top. We're gonna get hit for a lot, I think, here. Just 3, and then 4. But next turn we are in for a hell of a time. There's Llanowar, finally. No use to us now. Incubation's no use to us either if we can't protect it with Stony Strength. And the best it can do is block Goblin. And now there's 2 of them. Where we get hit for? 2, 5, 6, 7. 8 on the end step, so we'll be down to 10 at a 2-turn clock. Possibly a 1-turn clock if they have burn, which they likely do. Okay, so we got a land. So now this is where... Tap her for green. Stony Strength her. Play Marwyn. Play Llanowar. Play Polybright. So we get the 4/4 Marwyn. Because Marwyn does get the counter first. Okay. So we have chump blockers and then an actual blocker, but I don't know if that will be enough against mono red. One deck this does tend to fail against is mono red. We need our mana dorks, and they have a tendency to shock and strike them out of existence forever. Lava Run does not get haste. But this is now a 4/4, which is scary. Yep, a couple gobos. Now if they attack with everything, I honestly think, how much damage is this? A lot, I know that. I'm gonna be blocking here, and here, and probably just here. And then take 3... Fucking 7? We're going down to 2? Really? Actually, we just lose. Because now on our turn, they ping us. Yeah, that's just it. They have something too. Well, they actually don't have the mana to ping us yet, so... Let's just pull, like, Emergence Zone and remove the counter somehow. Ugh, this would have been so good a second ago. Alrighty. Well, that was the deck. I hope you guys enjoy it. I just make these videos for fun. I don't have any career or super investment in it, but if you guys have any comments or ideas that I could do decks on, leave them in the comments of your varying social media outlets that this will be found on, either YouTube or Reddit or Twitter or wherever. And I will be glad to take a look. I love everything Magic the Gathering. I've been playing for a long time, and I'll be showcasing the rest of the decks that I've been making in War of the Spark while I make them. These 5 are all very new War of the Spark decks, except for Tomb is a little more about M19 and Dominaria, but still fairly new. But let's get into just a short deck tech about what this actually is in case you're interested. 4 Llanowar Elves, pretty simple. 2 Stony Strength gets to put counters on our things so Proliferate matters more, and also with Incubation Druid and Marwyn, you can really go off. You can tap Marwyn for 1 and then incubate or Stony Strength it and then tap it for 2 again if you want, because now it has an extra counter on it. Incubation Druid's even better because you just play her on turn 2 and then turn 3 you Stony Strength her, which you saw us do. You use her to Stony Strength herself. She untaps with a counter and then taps for 3, so she nets you 2 mana for just casting Stony Strength on her. Same thing with Courage and Crisis. She can do the same thing on turn 3. She just doesn't net you any mana, but she just Courage and Crisis for the 3 lands, and I guess you could net 1 mana if you float her for 1. It doesn't untap her is the problem, so you'll have to tap 3 lands, Courage and Crisis on her, and then tap her for 3. But basically, those are just your key ramp pieces, are Llanowar Elves, Incubation Druid, and Marwyn. Deeper Champion, we're casting a lot of Planeswalkers, we're casting a couple non-creature spells that we'll go over in a second, you probably have seen in the gameplay. But he's just a 2 mana 1/1. I wish he was a bear, but he's just a 2 mana 1/1 that puts counters on himself. That's the most important part about him, is that he self-proliferates he's like a self-flux channeler, which is the 3 mana 2/2 that proliferates when you cast a non-creature spell. But Bond of Flourishing is our most important non-creature spell that isn't a Planeswalker, because it's just Anticipate for permanent, so it's a little more narrow, and it's a sorcery, but it gains you 3 life, and against the aggro decks that's pretty good, even though it didn't end up being that good in that game, but we also could find our 3rd land, so I don't blame that on Bond of Flourishing at all. We would have died sooner. Had Bond of Flourishing not been there, we would have died an extra turn sooner, because we were at 2 at the end. Nature Spiral, because we play BO1 with this deck, even though it does have a sideboard, which you can see here, it's not that refined, and I just wanted to be testing these out in BO1 to see where people's heads are at with the new format. Nobody's really making the greatest constructed decks right now, the most amazing combos right now. They're kind of just fiddling around with what we know works and testing what we think could work, and that's kind of where the format's at. But Nature Spiral, always good for mono green, especially in BO1. Any removal, any discard, anything like that puts a permanent in your graveyard, you're not getting it back, and you don't usually have a lot of ways to draw cards in green in standard. But Nature Spiral gets it back right to your hand. Really good for Planeswalkers who use their negative loyalty abilities and kill themselves, or just die to removal or die in combat. Lets you refresh proliferate effects like Pollen Bright Druid or Bloom Hulk that just proliferate when they enter the battlefield. Pollen Bright Druid also just puts a counter on something, so like we played earlier, we can just make it a bear, which isn't great, but later on when we can like turn 3 this, or turn 4 this, or Evolution Sage into a land on turn 4, or something, or turn 3 if we have an elf, something like that, it gets better, because instead of being a bear, it's a bear on turn 2 that turns into a 3/3 and a 4/4 and a 5/5 throughout the game. And eventually we'll get Trample from our super weird budgety card with Trollbred Guardian. There's a card like this in the Simic deck that I've made called Zakama. That's that legendary Merfolk 4/4 for 4 that adapts, and anything with +1/+1 counters on it gets Trample. But this is pretty much the same thing, except it's a 5 mana 5/5, but we get to that mana fairly easily as long as we draw our lands. It basically is just to close out games against tokens or anything that has a lot of blockers, because we can end up making our board wide enough and big enough at the same time that when we attack in, it's still lethal. But having them have Trample is just so much better than having your 8/8s blocked by 1/1s for the entirety of the game. Nissa, powerhouse. In the last 3 games that we won that didn't get recorded, she never really got to see an ult, but in this game she absolutely did, and you could see where it was going to go if the opponent didn't scoop in the other game. But we did manage to get one off with her still being alive and just plussing and making creatures. We swapped her out with another one to make another creature and ended up getting him with like 4 lands that were Vigilance, Haste, Indestructible, 8/8 6/6 3/3 3/3, which is just insane. You can get her down on turn 3, which is just even crazier. Same thing with Biogenic Ooze on turn 3. That's just sometimes an instant scoop because you're just generating so much card advantage. And these 2 cards work so well together. All of the lands that you have, all the forests that you have, that aren't creatures already, just tap for 2. So you only need 2 forests for Biogenic Ooze to make another creature token. And it just gets out of control really, really fast. Arlen, just a creature factory. We didn't get to use her very much. We were about to after we got her off of Karn, who was also fairly good in the deck. He's mostly just a card draw engine. I don't use him for the creatures unless we really, really need it. But his card draw and card selection is very, very fine. Ugin, prime removal piece. Prime removal piece and fairly good card draw. Well, something that's interesting that I've been seeing with Ugin is that if you plus him and then start putting counters and proliferating the token, it becomes such a big threat that if the opponent doesn't kill it, they could just die to it like they're dying to the rest of the creatures. So it becomes something that they do want to block more than just a 2/2, and they do want to spot remove more than just a 2/2. They don't feel like they mind wasting a spot removal spell on it, especially if they don't know what's under it because they think, oh, it could be a land, it could be anything. But oftentimes, because we run so few lands, it is not. And even if it is a land, we have ways to make that matter. We have Nissa, who turns them into 3/3s and makes them tap for 2, or we have Evolution Sage that lets us proliferate and grow our entire board. Emergent Zone, casting something with Flash against control is pretty useful, even though it's only a 1-of, it's come up before. Karn's Bastion, I would probably swap out Emergent Zone and maybe 1 other card in here for 2 more Karn's Bastions, because that card, in the late game when you're flooded out, that card is just a gold mine. Ugin's Conjurant, I would probably put more copies in if I was building this deck and wanted to make it hyper fast. I would be taking out things like Trollbred Guardian, probably things like Marwyn, and just put in the last incubation. But take out Marwyn entirely, and Courage and Crisis if you want to make this hyper fast, because Ugin's Conjurant on turn 1 into turn 2 Pollen Bright, proliferating, and then anything else after that. I think what we ended up doing was turn 1 Ugin's Conjurant on 1, then Pollen Bright Druid proliferating it, and then Courage and Crisis on the Ugin's Conjurant, and it proliferated. We put the counter on the Pollen Bright Druid, proliferated both, and then ended up with a Bloom Hulk, made them both bigger, and the deck just gets out of control really, really fast. So if you want to build Proliferate, Mono Green's a pretty good option for you, even though Blue Green and White Green have some very intense lines that you can follow. But if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like or a comment or whatever. It's pretty fun for me, and I hope you guys enjoy the ideas that I come up with decks. And I will see you guys all in the next video.